welcome to another episode of UK Crime Caught on Camera. In this programme we're looking at shop raids and heists. Coming up, we look at some truly terrifying situations where shopkeepers come face to face with armed robbers, including a gang who target a jewellery store while dressed as Harry Potter villains. We go to a bungling burglar who comes a cropper when the till turns out to be too heavy for him to lift. And we meet a brave elderly shop owner who fights back when a hammer-wielding thug walks into their store. But first, remember the two baddies in Home Alone? Well, there's a new gang dubbed the Sticky Bandits who have been terrorising industrial warehouses in the West Midlands. And you won't believe the brazen calling cards they left in their wake. A brazen gang who called themselves the Sticky Bandits can be seen here pretending to mourn in a cemetery, just so they could scope out a warehouse over the road that they planned to ransack.
I made it look like I was mourning on a grave. Just want to scope out the building.
The gang, who named themselves after the Home Alone crooks, stole £1.6 million worth of machines and metals, mostly targeting businesses while they were closed over the festive period. After raiding one premises, they spray painted the words "Ha ha, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year" on the floor before torching a lorry they had used. The 5 professional burglars filmed themselves laughing and joking while they ransacked industrial units and factories. They would spend hours at sites as they stole metal and other goods using heavy-duty plant and machinery. The criminals are then believed to have sold the metal to scrap dealers. They brazenly filmed some of their raids on their own mobile phones and can be heard laughing and joking as they ransacked warehouses. During one raid, members of the gang were laughing while the crook recording said, "Sticky Bandits, love it, love it." They were nailed after detectives used CCTV and phone records to identify the gang who were arrested in a series of dawn raids. The 5 men were jailed for more than 30 years in total. Now we're in Manchester, where a hammer-wielding thug is in for a tough time when he tries to hold up a jeweller's, but the elderly store owners are having none of it. The robber can be seen trying to snatch an expensive bracelet from the 71-year-old woman behind the till, while armed with a claw hammer. Her heroic hubby, who was 78 years old at the time, can then be seen leaping into action to grab the crook and frog marches him to the door. The woman then picks up a tool from the drawer under the desk to protect herself and joins in to help her husband fight off the attacker who left empty-handed. He was jailed for 4.5 years. This was the moment when burglars broke into a historic manor house in Sherwood Forest and walked away with a diamond-encrusted tiara worth millions. During the daring heist, the offenders fled with the Portland tiara, a national treasure that was commissioned for King Edward VII's coronation. The robbers are seen wearing boiler suits and crash helmets, using power tools and metal bars to break their way into the Portland Collection Gallery. It later transpired that a gangster couple had visited the estate the previous year, where they had filmed GoPro footage to help the gang plan their heist, while the couple posed as tourists. In the footage, the woman is heard gushing over jewels and joking about filming sheep during a recce to steal the expensive jewels. The video was studied by the gang who used it to plan the daring break-in more than a year later. Detectives identified the boyfriend as a known career criminal, and the gang was later linked by their mobile phone activities to a pair of crooked jewellers in London's Hatton Gardens. When police raided the shop, officers found a plastic bag containing a stash of jewellery and an FA Cup runners-up medal stolen the day before from the home of another professional footballer. They were then able to link the shop and the gang to several other violent break-ins in which the victims were tied up and assaulted in their own homes. The gang was jailed for a total of more than 100 years, but the woman involved was spared jail. Next we go to the Midlands, where a bungling gang carried out a string of botched raids, even targeting a hospital during the COVID lockdown. Watch here as the crooks attempt to open a cash machine inside a shop, but when police disturb them, the suspects flee, leaving their tools behind. Despite the failed raid, the gang struck again, this time using a Jaws of Life machine normally used by firefighters, to break in before blowing up a cash machine using gas. But they once again fled empty-handed. The bungling wannabe robbers try again here, as they are seen ram-raiding a co-op in Walsall, destroying the whole shop front. They try to drag a cash machine through the store using heavy straps, but it snagged on the shutters, forcing them to abandon their attempt. A month later they strike again in Wolverhampton, using the same technique, but again they leave empty-handed when the strap snagged as it dragged through the wrecked shop. Finally, this was a dramatic moment, they were caught as they drove off to another raid, leading police on a 15-minute chase before the red van was repeatedly rammed by officers. All of the suspects were jailed.
Watch him.
But listen to this bizarre rant from the getaway driver.
What was you chasing me for? Look what just happened. Of course I'm upset because you just caused me to. I'm going to prison now. You know, dangerous driving and whatever else. It's going to be ridiculous on tape, that is. I know that's going to be an absolutely disgusting chase on tape, that is, lads. Thank you very much, because you know what? I'm going to look an absolute to everybody who sees that tape now. And it's all because you like chasing me for what?
Come on, here we go close.
Now we head to Edinburgh, where an armed gang dress up as Harry Potter villains as they carry out a terrifying heist at a jewellery store. Here, two of the gang can be seen dressed in flowing black robes reminiscent of the Dementors who haunted the Wizard Jail in the children's films. Now, this shows the stolen car pull up outside while one of the crooks rings the doorbell. Watch as he bends down to tie his shoelace, blocking the door from closing. The staff member became suspicious and tried to slam the door, but was too late, and the three ghoulishly dressed armed men ran straight from the car into the jewellery shop. They threatened staff and customers, smashed the display cabinets and ran off with 2 Rolex watches worth almost 18 grand. They fled when staff set off an anti-robbery fog device. But one of the men had carried out a similar raid a month prior with a gang of 4 other men. Again, they had pulled up in a stolen car. One stayed in a car while the others got out and used a sledgehammer to batter the locked door. Once inside, the thugs threatened to kill the shop owner. One robber attacked the owner with an axe while the others smashed the display cabinets, grabbing around 27 grand's worth of jewellery. The robbers sped off in the getaway car after the shop owner set off the fire extinguisher and filled the shop with fog. The 3 men were jailed for a total of 32 years and 2 months. Here in Newcastle, we see a crook try to lift a till, but it's too heavy for him. Watch as the thief falls through a hole in the ceiling before he marches up to the counter. Here he wrestles with the heavy till before staring into the camera. He then grabs the till and, after several attempts, rips the wires from the back before walking back to the area where he landed, where he clambers back up to the roof. The prolific burglar was jailed for 12 months. Now watch how an armed robber terrifies supermarket staff while wearing a Halloween mask. Here the thug is seen in his mask as he threatens checkout workers with a metal baton. He walks off from the Essex convenience store with a 3-figure sum of cash. The crook uses the same MO on 5 other shop raids, armed with different weapons each time, before he slips up when he leaves his mask off in full view of CCTV. Police officers found him hiding underneath a duvet after he tried to evade arrest. He was jailed for 8 years.
Later on in court.
Thanks for watching another episode of UK Crime Caught on Camera. If you're watching us on shoptv.com or Freeview, thank you so much for supporting our channel. Stay tuned for more authentic UK television coming up.